let me tell you something important, something no one talks about. If you are over 70 and still taking daily baths like you did in your younger days, you might be walking straight into danger without even realizing it. I have seen too many people make the same mistakes, and I cannot just sit here and watch others suffer. You might think that a bath is just a bath, something harmless and routine. But what if I told you that this simple act could be cutting your life short? What if I told you that every time you step into that tub, you are playing with fire? I have lived long enough to see the warnings, to hear the stories, to understand the risks. And I am here to tell you the truth that no one else is willing to say out loud. The first thing you must understand is that your body is not the same as it was 50 years ago. Your skin is thinner, your muscles are weaker, your balance is not what it used to be. Yet so many people still act like they are 20. They fill the tub with hot water, step in without a thought, and expect everything to go smoothly. But here is the harsh reality. That heat, that steam, that sudden temperature change is putting your heart under stress. You may not feel it right away, but your body does. Your blood pressure can drop suddenly, making you lightheaded. Your heart can start racing, struggling to adjust. I have known people, good people, who simply never got up from that bath. They thought they were just relaxing, just washing off the day, but their heart had other plans. Then there is the danger of slipping. Do not fool yourself into thinking that just because you have been bathing your whole life, you cannot fall. It happens in an instant. One moment you are standing, reaching for the soap, and the next you are on the floor, unable to move. I knew a man, a strong man, who lived his whole life without a single broken bone. Then one day, at 72, he slipped in the bath and broke his hip. He never walked the same way again. And do you know what happened after that? He stopped moving as much. His body got weaker. And within a year, he was gone. It was not the fall that killed him, it was everything that came after. I see people making another mistake, a mistake that seems harmless but is anything but. They take long baths, soaking for 30, 40, even 60 minutes, thinking it is good for them. But do you know what happens when you sit in hot water for too long? Your body loses essential minerals. Your skin becomes too dry, leading to cracks and infections. And worst of all, you become dangerously dehydrated without even realizing it. At our age, dehydration is no small thing. It weakens your organs, slows down your mind, and makes you tired in ways you cannot explain. I have seen too many people fade away slowly, blaming age when the truth was much simpler. They were drying themselves out day after day, and their body simply could not take it anymore. Another deadly mistake is taking a bath late at night. You might think it helps you sleep, makes you feel warm and comfortable before bed. But the truth is, your body's ability to regulate temperature is not what it used to be. When you step out of that warm water into the cold air of your bathroom, your body goes into shock. Your blood vessels, which were wide open from the heat, suddenly constrict. Your heart has to work harder, struggling to keep your body stable. Do you know how many people have heart attacks in the bathroom? More than you would ever believe. And many of them happen right after a late-night bath when the body is at its weakest. Some people also make the mistake of using strong soaps and shampoos, the same ones they have been using for decades. But your skin is different now. It is fragile, prone to irritation, and easily damaged. Those harsh chemicals strip away the little moisture you have left, leaving your skin dry and cracked. And when your skin cracks, bacteria find their way in. An infection that would have been nothing in your younger years can now turn into a nightmare. I knew a woman, a kind and careful woman, who developed a small infection on her foot. It did not seem like much at first, just a little red spot. But her skin was too weak to fight back. The infection spread. Within weeks, she was in the hospital. And she never came home again. The saddest part is that all of this is preventable. People do not realize how small changes can make a big difference. If you must take a bath, make it short. 5 or 10 minutes is enough. Use lukewarm water instead of hot. Do not bathe late at night when your body is already tired. And for the love of your own health, install grab bars in your bathroom. I do not care how steady you think you are. One slip is all it takes to change your life forever. And if you can, switch to showers instead of baths. They are quicker, safer, and much easier on your body. I have seen too many good people make these mistakes, and I refuse to let you be one of them. You might think you are just taking a bath, just following the same routine you always have. But at our age, nothing is the same as it used to be. What was once harmless can now be deadly. And the worst part? No one warns us. No one tells us that the habits we have had for decades might now be hurting us. So I am telling you. I am warning you. Because I have seen what happens when people ignore these dangers. And I do not want that to happen to you. Life is too precious to be lost over something as simple as a bath. Do not let a daily routine turn into a deadly mistake. Listen to what I am saying. Change your habits before it is too late. Because the truth is, none of us have time to waste. And I want you to live every moment you have left without unnecessary risk. You have made it this far. Do not let something as simple as a bath take that away from you. Now, let's clear some common questions. What are the safest ways for seniors to maintain hygiene without exposing themselves to unnecessary risks? I have lived long enough to know that the things we take for granted in our younger years can turn into the biggest dangers when we get older. One of those things is how we keep ourselves clean. When we were young, we never thought twice about stepping into a hot bath, scrubbing ourselves with whatever soap we had, and moving on with our day. But time changes the body in ways we do not always notice until it is too late. The skin gets thinner. The heart works harder. The bones do not heal as fast as they used to. What once seemed harmless can now be a serious risk. That is why it is so important to find the safest ways to stay clean without putting ourselves in danger. I have seen too many people ignore these risks, and I do not want you to make the same mistake. The first thing to understand is that bathing does not have to happen every single day. When we were younger, our bodies produced more oil and sweat. But as we age, our skin becomes drier and more sensitive. Bathing too often, especially with hot water and harsh soaps, strips away the natural oils that protect our skin. This leads to cracks, irritation, and even infections. I have known people who thought they were just keeping clean, but in reality, they were damaging their skin little by little until it became a serious problem. The truth is, 2 or 3 times a week is often enough for a full bath or shower. On the other days, a simple sponge bath with warm water and a gentle cloth is more than enough to stay fresh without harming the skin. One of the biggest dangers in the bathroom is slipping. I have lost good friends to falls that should never have happened. People do not realize how easy it is to lose balance for just 1 second and never recover from the consequences. That is why the first thing I tell anyone my age is to make the bathroom a safer place. A non-slip mat inside and outside the shower or bathtub is not an option. It is a necessity. If you do not have grab bars installed, get them as soon as possible. Do not trust towel racks or anything else that is not meant to support your weight. I once knew a man who grabbed onto a sink for support, only for it to break right off the wall. He never walked again after that fall. It is a simple thing, but making sure you have something strong to hold on to can save your life. Water temperature is another thing most people do not think about until it is too late. Hot water feels good, but it can be dangerous for older bodies. It can cause dizziness, sudden drops in blood pressure, and even fainting. I have heard too many stories of people who passed out in the bathtub because the water was just a little too warm. The safest approach is to use lukewarm water. Not too hot, not too cold. Just warm enough to feel comfortable without shocking the body. And never rush to stand up after a bath or shower. Move slowly. Give your body time to adjust. It is these small moments where danger hides, and it only takes one mistake to change everything. Soap is another thing that can do more harm than good if you are not careful. Many of the soaps people have used for years are too harsh for aging skin. They strip away moisture and leave the skin dry and vulnerable. I always tell people to switch to mild, fragrance-free soaps that keep the skin soft and healthy. And after every bath or shower, applying a simple, gentle moisturizer can prevent dryness and cracking. It may not seem like a big deal, but when you have seen infections start from something as small as dry skin, you understand why this matters. Another thing to think about is how to clean the hard-to-reach places. Many older people struggle to wash their backs, feet, or legs because of reduced flexibility. I have seen people strain themselves trying to bend or balance in the shower, only to end up hurting themselves. There is no shame in using a long-handled sponge or a bathing chair to make things easier. Some people feel stubborn about using these things, thinking it makes them weak. But I say true strength comes from knowing how to protect yourself. For those who struggle with mobility, there are even safer alternatives. Some people install walk-in showers to eliminate the need to step over a bathtub edge. Others use handheld shower heads that allow them to stay seated while washing. And for those who find even that too risky, Bed baths or assistance from a loved one or caregiver can keep hygiene in check without unnecessary danger. There's always a way to stay clean safely. The key is to accept that our bodies have changed and to work with those changes instead of against them. Another habit that is often overlooked is keeping towels and clothes within reach. I have seen people step out of the bath dripping wet, trying to shuffle across the floor to grab a towel. That is an accident waiting to happen. Keeping everything you need close by, including a sturdy place to sit while drying off, can prevent a moment of carelessness from turning into a disaster. Hygiene is not just about bathing. It is also about taking care of the little things that can lead to big problems if ignored. Keeping nails trimmed prevents painful infections. Washing hands regularly stops the spread of germs that can lead to illnesses far more dangerous for older bodies. Keeping the mouth clean with regular brushing and dental care can prevent infections that spread beyond the gums. I once knew a man who lost his health over a simple tooth infection that was left untreated. These are the things people do not think about until they become serious. Another overlooked danger is dehydration. People forget that bathing, especially in warm water, can lead to fluid loss. I always tell people to drink a glass of water before and after a bath or shower. It is a small step, but it can prevent dizziness, fatigue, and even fainting. And when it comes to keeping clean, remember that changing clothes regularly is just as important as bathing. Wearing the same clothes for too long, especially undergarments, can lead to skin problems and infections. There is no shame in adjusting our habits as we age. The real mistake is pretending we can do things the way we always have without consequences. I have seen too many people suffer because they ignored the simple truth. Our bodies are not what they used to be, but that does not mean we have to give up our dignity. We just have to be smarter. We have to work with our bodies, not against them. Staying clean is important, but staying safe is even more important. It is not about stubbornness. It is about survival. If you remember nothing else from what I have said, remember this. Your life is worth more than an unnecessary risk. A simple change in how you bathe, a small adjustment in how you care for yourself, can mean the difference between living well and suffering unnecessarily. Choose wisely. Choose safety. And above all, choose to live. How can simple modifications, like grab bars or non-slip mats, dramatically reduce the dangers of bathing in old age? I have lived long enough to know that the smallest things in life can make the biggest difference. When I was younger, I never thought twice about stepping into a bathtub or walking across a wet floor. My legs were strong. My balance was steady. And I never imagined a simple slip could change everything in an instant. But life has a way of teaching lessons the hard way. I have seen too many friends suffer because they ignored the warning signs. One moment they were fine. The next, they were on the floor, unable to get up, their lives never the same again. That is why I tell everyone my age the same thing. A few simple changes in the bathroom can be the difference between living safely and taking a risk that is simply not worth it. One of the smartest things a person can do as they get older is install grab bars in the bathroom. I cannot count how many times I have seen people use towel racks or the edge of the sink for support, thinking it will hold their weight. But these things are not meant to be grabbed in a moment of panic. I once knew a man who lost his balance stepping out of the tub. He reached for the towel rack. It came right off the wall. He went down hard. And just like that, his independence was gone. A grab bar, properly installed, is different. It is strong. It is meant to take your weight. It is there when you need it the most. And trust me, if you have ever felt your foot slip on a wet floor, you will know just how important that is. Non-slip mats are another thing too many people overlook. People think they can just be careful. That if they move slowly and watch their step, nothing bad will happen. But accidents do not give you time to be careful. One moment your foot is steady. The next, it is sliding out from under you. And once you are falling, there is nothing you can do to stop it. I knew a woman, a strong and independent woman, who took a bath every night before bed. She never thought she needed anything special to keep her safe. One night, she stepped out of the tub onto a regular bath mat. It slid across the tile floor. She went down hard, broke her hip, and never fully recovered. She spent the rest of her life in and out of hospitals, all because of one small mistake that could have been avoided. A simple non-slip mat could have kept her feet steady. It could have changed everything. Another modification that makes a world of difference is a shower chair. There's no shame in sitting down while you bathe. Standing in the shower, especially for those of us with weaker legs or trouble with balance, is a risk that is simply not worth taking. I have seen people push themselves to stand for as long as they could, thinking they were proving their strength. But strength is not about taking unnecessary risks. Strength is about knowing when to make smart choices. A shower chair takes away the danger of slipping. It allows you to wash yourself without worrying about your legs giving out or your feet losing grip. And the best part? It lets you stay independent for longer. Because once a person falls, once they get hurt, they often lose more than just their mobility. They lose their confidence. They become afraid. And that fear takes away their freedom. A handheld shower head is another small change that can make a big difference. I have known too many people who struggle to reach certain parts of their body while standing in the shower, twisting and turning in ways their body no longer allows. That kind of movement is dangerous. It throws off your balance. It makes you vulnerable to a fall. But with a handheld shower head, you can sit comfortably and still wash yourself with ease. You can move the water where you need it instead of moving your body in ways that put you at risk. It is such a simple change, but it can mean the difference between a safe bath and a dangerous one. Lighting is another thing people do not think about until it is too late. As we get older, our eyesight changes. What once seemed bright and clear now looks dim and shadowed. And in a place like the bathroom, where wet surfaces and hard floors are everywhere, poor lighting is a recipe for disaster. I knew a man who got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. He did not turn on the light because he did not want to wake his wife. He misjudged his step, slipped, and hit his head. He never woke up again. It still haunts me to this day, knowing that something as simple as a brighter light bulb or a night light could have saved his life. Even the placement of everyday items can make a difference. How many times have you bent down to pick up a bar of soap in the shower? How many times have you reached too far for the shampoo bottle, throwing yourself off balance? It only takes one bad movement to cause a fall. That is why using a soap dispenser, keeping everything within easy reach, and making sure you never have to bend or stretch too much can keep you safe without even thinking about it. Another thing I always tell people is to never rush. Rushing is the enemy of safety. Whether you are stepping into the tub, getting out of the shower, or drying off, take your time. Move slowly. Give your body a moment to adjust. So many falls happen because people stand up too fast, feeling dizzy from the steam and heat. I have known people who lost everything because they were in a hurry. Nothing is worth that risk. The truth is, no one thinks they are going to fall. No one believes that one wrong step could take away their freedom. But I have seen it happen again and again. And the saddest part? It is almost always preventable. A grab bar. A non-slip mat. A shower chair. These are not just accessories. They are lifelines. They are the difference between staying safe and taking a risk that could change everything. I have lived long enough to know that pride is not worth your health. If there is something that can keep you safe, use it. If there is a way to make your bathroom a safer place, do it. Do not wait until after a fall to realize how important these things are. By then, it may be too late. I say this because I care. Because I have seen too many people suffer when they did not have to. Because I want you to keep living your life with confidence and dignity, without fear of what one small slip could take away. Make these changes now. Protect yourself now. Because the best way to survive a fall is to never have one in the first place. Why do most people ignore these risks, and how can we change the way society thinks about hygiene and aging? I have lived long enough to see people make the same mistakes over and over again. The hardest part is knowing that most of these mistakes could have been avoided if only they had listened. I have watched strong men and independent women ignore the warning signs, convinced that nothing would ever happen to them. And then one day, it did. A slip in the bathroom. A fall that they never fully recovered from. An infection that started small but spread because they did not think it was serious. And I ask myself the same question every time. Why do people ignore these risks when the dangers are so obvious? Why do they wait until after disaster strikes to take precautions? And how can we change the way people think about hygiene and aging before it is too late? One of the biggest reasons people ignore these risks is pride. When you have spent your whole life taking care of yourself, it is hard to admit that things have changed. I have seen men who built their own homes, who worked hard every day of their lives, refuse to accept that they now struggle to lift their legs high enough to step over a bathtub. I have seen women who raised families, who kept everything in order, insist that they do not need help with something as simple as bathing. They see making changes as giving up. They see using a shower chair or installing grab bars as admitting weakness. But that is not weakness. That is wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when to adapt, when to make small changes that can save you from pain and suffering. The real mistake is ignoring the truth. Another reason people overlook these dangers is habit. When you have been doing something the same way for 50 or 60 years, it does not occur to you that it might be dangerous now. You step into the bath the same way you always have. You wash the same way you always have. You dry off and move on with your day without a second thought. But what people do not realize is that the body changes in ways that are not always obvious. The muscles are not as strong. The reflexes are slower. The skin is thinner. The bones are weaker. What felt safe at 40 can be deadly at 70. But because nothing bad has happened yet, people assume nothing ever will. And that is the mistake that catches them off guard. Fear is another thing that keeps people from accepting these risks. It sounds strange, but I have seen it time and time again. People do not want to think about getting older. They do not want to face the fact that their bodies are changing. They push the thought away, pretending that if they do not acknowledge it, it will not be real. But aging is not something you can ignore. It happens whether you accept it or not. And the more you deny it, the more unprepared you will be when something does go wrong. Facing the truth does not make you weak. It makes you smart. And the people who live the longest, the people who stay independent the longest, are the ones who prepare instead of pretend. Another problem is that society does not like to talk about aging. People act like growing old is something to be ashamed of, something to hide. When was the last time you saw a commercial talking about how to safely take a bath as you age? When was the last time you saw a magazine article about why seniors should change their hygiene routines? These things are treated like private problems, things to be dealt with quietly instead of openly discussed. And because of that, many people do not even realize the risks until they or someone they love has already been hurt. Society teaches people to focus on looking young instead of staying safe. It is time to change that. The way we change this is by talking about it. By making safety and hygiene in old age something people discuss as openly as anything else. People need to see others their age making these changes, not as a last resort, but as a normal and smart decision. If more older adults shared their experiences, if more families had honest conversations, if doctors made these discussions a routine part of checkups, then fewer people would be caught off guard. The more people hear about it, the more normal it will become. We also need to change the way we think about aging. Growing older is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be prepared for. It is not about losing independence. It is about protecting it. When I see someone using a shower chair, I do not see weakness. I see someone who wants to keep taking care of themselves for as long as possible. When I see someone installing grab bars, I do not see defeat. I see someone who wants to stay in their own home instead of being forced into a care facility after a preventable fall. We need to stop treating these things as signs of decline and start treating them as smart decisions. Education is another key to changing this mindset. If younger generations understood these risks, they could help their parents and grandparents make better choices. Families should not wait until after an accident to start thinking about these things. They should have these conversations early, before it becomes an emergency. If a son or daughter sees their aging parent still stepping into a slippery bathtub, they should not be afraid to say something. If a friend notices that someone they care about is still using harsh soaps that dry out their skin, they should speak up. These little interventions can save lives. But the most important change has to come from within. Each person has to make the choice to take care of themselves in a way that makes sense for their age. That means letting go of pride and admitting that some things need to be done differently now. That means breaking old habits and replacing them with safer ones. That means facing the truth about aging instead of avoiding it. It is not an easy shift to make, but it is a necessary one. I have seen too many people suffer because they refuse to accept these truths. And I do not want you to be one of them. The time to make changes is not after something bad happens. It is before. It is when you still have the choice, when you can still take control of your own safety instead of leaving it to fate. So do not wait. Do not ignore the risks just because nothing bad has happened yet. Do not let pride, habit, fear, or society's silence stop you from making the right choices. Talk about it. Prepare for it. Make the changes now. Because the real secret to aging well is not pretending it is not happening. It is facing it with wisdom, with action, and with the understanding that the best way to stay independent is to take the steps that will keep you safe. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel, so until next time, take care.